Glad you're with us. And the final weekend of this regular season is here. And the Milwaukee Brewers round out the schedule for St. Louis. The Brewers have Felipe Lopez and Craig Counsell and Ryan Braun in the first, and Prince Fielder making a charge for MVP. Mike Cameron, Jody Garrett, Alcides Escobar, Jason Kendall, and Braden Looper. And Looper's been very solid in his first season with the Brewers. Marshall Wireless starter Adam Wainwright trying to pick up elusive win number 20.
Oh, and look at his numbers. 19-8, third best ERA in the National League, and he has dominated this year against the Brewers. Allowed just 2 runs in 30-plus innings, and he's 3-1.
Domino's first pitch of the game, a base hit by Lopez. You go back to last season, the Cardinals picked him up near the trade deadline. The Brewers did that this year, and for both squads, he's really paid off. He played well for the Cardinals. He's played well for Milwaukee.
Yeah, he's added to his .306 average, and he's batted .313 now with another base hit as a member of the Brewers. So you're absolutely right. He has been a late season acquisition the last couple of years and paid off for the team that acquired him.
Well, you always hear about, veterans. Will they play one more season? Do they want to stick around one more year? And Craig Counsell, at the age of 39 this past week, as we get to the end of the regular season, said he wants to come back and play at least one more season, and he'd like to do so with his hometown team, the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah, it really makes a difference. Second stint with his hometown team, and he has played well enough and deserves to come back if he so desires.
Remember early this season, Brewers were hit with injuries, and Counsell had to play more than Mr. Maka would like. But he filled in quite well. He could play third base, short, or second.
And they really weren't sure if he could do that because he has a knee that probably will have to go get scoped in the offseason. But he was very durable and could answer the bell in back-to-back games.
If you're the Brewers, you ask the question, what went wrong in 2009 as opposed to 2008? When he had great years again from Braun and Fielder. Cameron put up 24 home runs, 70 RBIs. It comes down to pitching.
This game's all about pitching. They really solved their problems with their closers, but in the starting rotation, and that sets the tone. In Maka's starters have really had a tough year.
No CC Sabathia, no Ben Sheets. Big difference.
Can make a difference, can it? Ooh. And, Looper, who's pitching tonight against the Cardinals, you can't fault him. He's had a good season, career high 13 wins.
And here's an 0-2 pitch from Wainwright. Pulled foul. Now, if you're the Cardinals tonight and you're Dave Duncan and Tony La Russa, you're walking a fine line because you want to see Wainwright get that 20th win and leave it in his hands. Meaning, if he has to go deep into a game, yes, you want him to do it, but then he's coming off 130 pitches, and you're worried about beyond tonight. You're talking about postseason play. The Cardinals are advancing. It's not like the offseason is his next move.
Well, what you want him to do is you want the offense to get a start out there. You want Wainwright to act like Carpenter when he's in the batter's box.
Help himself.
6 RBIs, no question. Not asking for much. But if you can get him that big lead and have a sufficient lead where you think you can turn over the bullpen after 5 or 6 innings, get him his 20th and get him his rest also.
He's taken just a little bit low, and Wainwright glares back at the home plate umpire. That's Bill Welke.
He's had a little this year. Left-handed batters are hitting him at 275, righties 219. So kind of loaded up. Switch here, Lopez. Now you got Counsell from the left side. 3 of the first 4, 4 of the first 6 will be left-handed batters.
2-2 the count, nobody out, runner at first, and we're just underway. Here, game 1 of this 3-game series between the Brewers and the Cardinals.
Time for double play ball, right?
You could use it right here. Full count. Wainwright was just fantastic in that game on Saturday, and a lot of people believe that may have wrapped up the Cy Young Award for him, but then you listen to some of the national writers and they said, oh, on Sunday it's Wainwright's. And then they watched Carpenter yesterday. Well, Carpenter's the guy. Well, maybe Lincecum. I mean, it is going to be a very, very tight race for that Cy Young Award.
And that's what bothers you when people are splitting the votes between the Cardinal pitchers.
Runner goes, and it's slowly hit, foul.
That ball a little funny that you thought might come back fair.
We saw that earlier this year. So 3-2 the count on Craig Counsell, and the defense is Holiday, Rasmus, Ludwig, presented by Auto Tire. Gloss, Ryan, Schumacher, and Pujols along the infield, and the battery tonight, Wainwright and Molina. It is interesting to note to see Troy Gloss, second consecutive start over third base. Three-two, hit out to center. That will carry and be caught by Colby.
And in many ways, I think it's a very good sign to see Gloss in consecutive games playing third base. After having a good game yesterday, how's his body respond? Can he come back, 2 days in a row? And we were both a little surprised, pleasantly surprised with his numbers in postseason. What was it, 19 games, 9 home runs, and 16 RBIs in his career in postseason. That'll get Tony's attention.
There's Ryan Braun, 31 homers, 108 driven in. Another fantastic year for Braun. Average at 318. Then you think about Pujols and Holiday and that combination. Maybe none better than these two here with Braun and Fielder on deck.
Yep, they actually have the most RBIs by a tandem. And Braun, they rave about him. 3 consecutive years to start his career. He said 30 home runs and 100 RBIs. Gee, that sounds like somebody's done it for 9 years.
Yeah.
He's only second to Albert. First one that Albert was first to ever do it, 3 years.
You see the season numbers against the Cardinals, only a .220 average, 1 RBI and 4 doubles.
You know how important it is for Albert to win the RBI crown. So Cardinal pitchers.
This is pulled and fair. Low throw at second on to first, not in time. Nice scoop by Skip at second base. 5-4 on the fielder's choice.
May not have been able to turn it, but with the fourth throw and right over the bag, foot kind of slipped, and he throws a sinker to Schumacher. He does a nice job to get it, and just that little bit of delay. Watch when he goes to set himself and his foot kind of slides a little bit. That got him a little off balance, forced the throw downward. And a nice play, as you said. Schumacher made the most important thing was to get at least 1.
2 outs, runner at first, and it extends this inning to Fielder. So he can't turn 2, and now the dangerous Prince Fielder digs in. Just shy of that 300 mark at 298, 44 homers, and he's driven in 138. On base percentage of over 400.
Just 2 home runs and 9 RBIs against the Cardinal pitching.
Runner goes. Throw down to second. And safe as the ball was dropped. And I think Braun probably would have had it anyway.
Yeah. Really looked like Ryan was tagging him in the back as his feet have already extended and touched the bag. Steals it off Wainwright. Real quick throw. Sails a little bit on Molina. And then Brendan. See, he's already there. So he gets him in the midsection, but those legs were already extended to the bag and couldn't hold on to it.
So Molina will go over the signs with Wainwright with a runner at second base. Any other year, you'd think Fielder, if his team was headed to postseason play as well, would be in better consideration for that MVP award. But you talk to most of the national writers. We travel with the team and writers in other cities, and in their minds, it's really no competition. Pujols is going to win his third.
Yeah, and he could be a very close second. But you're right about those numbers. And Cardinal fans have to know that Braun is going to try and steal whenever he can. He's trying to become a 30-20 man, because he already has 31 home runs, and that was his 19th steal.
You can see from our vantage point, we're right behind home plate. You get a great look at the defense and the huge shift that is on for Fielder with Brendan Ryan just about at the bag at second base, but you see the huge gap there in left and left center.
And Kobe actually playing fairly shallow as he takes a step or 2 back.
Now you have first base open. 3 balls, no strikes, and you just might put on Fielder and deal with Cameron.
Not real happy with the way that Wainwright's really taking so much time, but that seemed like a good approach right now.
For Ken Maka, you don't mind the steal with Ryan Braun, but the only problem that you have with that, first base then becomes unoccupied, and you don't pitch then to your big slugger fielder. So it's very important, though, for Cameron in these spots to try to come through.
Cameron has hit over 300 against Wainwright. And he's also, you know, the 5th place hitter for a reason. He's there in an RBI slot.
2 outs and 2 on.
Good cutter right there. He throws that pitch. Cameron's going to come up empty more times than not. And you watch his feet, and watch what he does with his hands. If he goes diving across the plate, then you can run the ball right back in on him, let him jam himself.
Here's an 0-1 pitch to Mike Cameron. Haven't seen that breaking ball as sharp as we saw it last week. And it might be a game where it just takes a little bit for Wainwright to get a feel out there, too.
You know, Wainwright, for the most part, especially considering a guy that takes so few pitches to warm up in the bullpen. This is 34 start. He's only allowed 10 first-inning runs. And that is probably a little bit on the low side.
And a 1-1 pitch now. Third ball and a strike. 1-2. I asked Adam about throwing all these breaking balls this year, and he said his arm actually has felt stronger down the stretch, and kind of the opposite of what you would think with all those breaking balls and the toll that takes on your elbow and your shoulder as well. Works on that first base side of the rubber. A 1-2 pitch.
Of course, then you asked him to raise his right hand above his head, and he's 6'7", and his right hand reached up to 7'2".
And he was fine. He was able to go a little higher. Yeah.
The elbow was locked in the curveball release.
He is working on an extra day's rest, and he'll do so prior to his next start in the playoffs. 2-2. And still, Al, a lot is unsettled in the National League as far as home field advantage and what teams will face each other.
Well, exactly right. You know, we know what 4 are going to be in it in the National League. We just don't know whether the Dodgers or Colorado is going to be the division champion, as Colorado trails Los Angeles by 2 with 3 to play against each other. So it's going to be a fun series out there in LA.
2-2. Cameron, a swing and a miss. First strikeout for Wainwright. Cardinals coming up, and they're half of the first. here on Fox Sports Midwest. That's the new logo down that right field line on the wall, the championship logo. Schumacher, Rasmus Pujols, then Holiday, Ludwig, Loss, Molina, Ryan, and Wainwright. And they will face former reliever and starter with the Cardinals, our Marshall Wireless starter, Braden Looper of the Milwaukee Brewers.
Well, Braden, career high 13 wins this year, and he's making his 34th start, so he has been very consistent for a guy that didn't even make their media guide. He is a late sign. I was talking to Hal McRae, and I was asking him about facing Looper, and he said, I wish we would have signed this guy because he's very consistent. He's going to take the ball every fifth day. He goes out there and he gives his team a chance to win. And Brendan Ryan having his finger or his glove fixed.
Like they're working on the glove.
You never know with him.
What a year he has had, though.
It's a sick glove.
No, he's all right. This is fought off by Schumacher. That's Escobar, their fine young shortstop. And he'll make the play, and Skip is 0 for 1. And hitting .303, so very important to finish up this weekend strong. There you see the outfield and the infield for the Brewers, defensively presented by Auto Tire. Looper and Kendall, the battery tonight for the Brewers. Colby Rasmus digs in, hitting .254 with 16 home runs and 51 driven in. Didn't take long. They got that logo up there, the Central Division champions of '09 down the right field line. We briefly saw that before our lineup.
Rasmus 3 for 4 with a home run against Looper. He's second in the National League rookies with his 16 home runs, and that is a nice looking logo, and we hope we can add to it.
What's your biggest concern for the Cardinals going into this postseason?
My biggest concern is the offense. Can it?
Colby, a fly ball out to left.
You win with your pitching, but you've got to get some offense. You would think with Albert, Holiday, you mentioned that Schumacher's batting 300, but it's a big series for Albert. He wants to win his first RBI crown, and he'd have to set a new career mark in RBIs to do so. And it was also, meaningful to get 50 home runs.
Remember his last series against the Brewers?
6 RBIs.
In 3 games, Fielder. Last series against the Cardinals had a pair of RBIs in 3 games. And Pujols hits it into shallow right for a base hit. He's going to try for 2. On his way to second, and he is safe in there with a double.
Took a gamble, and it pays off with that hustling out of the box. He could see it, and he knew that he really didn't hit it well, but it just flared it out there. Whoever was going to pick it up was going to have to have a long run, could have their back to second base, so it was worth taking a chance. And he's reading it all the way. He's going to go slide in there aggressively, throw a little bit offline, throw right into the runner, and you see Escobar actually turns his head, makes a blind stab, and knocked it down.
Now it's Holiday. Runner at second base, Pujols. Holiday pitches sharply to short. He can't handle it. Pujols being waved in. Throw by Braun way offline, and Holiday winds up at second base. 1-0 Cardinals here in the first.
He may be a highly touted shortstop, but he just got eaten up. And it's a base hit, RBI, takes second on the throw, as this is a rocket right off the bat of Holiday, and the young shortstop wanted no part of it. He plays it to the side, and then you're going to test Braun every day, throw way offline. Holiday gets himself into scoring position.
They give Holiday a base hit.
It's going to be a base hit. We're at home, but that ball was hit hard. I can live with that with today's scoring.
It's now 52 driven in for Matt Holiday. And Wainwright now with a 1-0 lead.
Keep on piling on, and like I said, 5, 6 innings, have a secure lead. He gets his work in, and he also will get his little extra rest and prepare for the playoffs as a 20-game winner. Long way to go, though.
And maybe now with a lead, he can relax a little bit. May have been a little tight in that first inning. I talked to Adam when we were in Houston in the recent road trip when he was at 18 before win number 19, that dramatic win over the weekend. He said, boy, you do think about it. It's hard not to. It's human nature, but 20. Wow, 20 wins.
And he also realized he had to get to 19 before he'd have that shot with 2 left.
What a gutsy performance Saturday night was, in one of the best pitch games we've seen in a long time.
Well, because of circumstances and what he had on the line, the Cardinals, it was the clinching game. And as Carpenter so graciously said, that's a Cy Young performance. That's what a winner does, closing out a game, that gutsy 8 innings.
Ludwig hits it foul and out of play.
10 strikeouts, right?
May have been 11. Giambi may have been 11.
Yeah, so in that realm, you can look. And you're right. 1 walk, 11 strikeouts, 8 innings.
None bigger than Jason Giambi's strikeout.
Yep. Because he was in a jam.
Here's a 1-2. Ludwig off the glove of fielder. Holiday being waved in. He will score. 2-0 Cardinals.
Just trying to make contact, keeping the bat alive, and gets a little extra, as this is another generous scoring, a base hit and RBI for Ludwig. So his 93rd, he's in the quest for the century mark. Let's see if Gloss can have some fun.
Gloss a pair of RBIs and looking for his first home run of the season. Very, very encouraging for Tony La Russa to see Gloss not only playing back-to-back games, but Tony was saying after the game yesterday, it's like he's not missing a beat. We're watching a guy taking some pretty good at-bats. Well,
that was it. When you miss as much time as he did, and basically he missed the entire season. He was activated on September 1st, but with what the Cardinals had at stake, couldn't just throw him out there. And his timing was so far off, it wouldn't have been fair for him to be playing every day, or to the Cardinals. But yesterday he hit the ball, 2 hits, single, double, 2 RBIs, swung the bat well.
Ludwig back in safely at first. And a count of 1 ball, 1 strike on Troy Gloss.
Just gives you another option, as DeRosa can have a little more time for that wrist to heal. But this is really trying to make a decision, and you always want to go with the veteran if things are even or a little bit, down a little bit. You always go with the veteran.
And Gloss lines it foul. Well, you're looking for some pop up the bench from this side of the plate. Certainly Troy Gloss would, you would assume, give you a little bit of that. And also, as you said, insurance. Here's a guy that's been on a World Series champion with the Angels, so it's not like he's going to be spooked by the playoffs.
No.
He'll be able to fit in quite nicely. Gloss into center, Cameron there, and the Cardinals strand a runner but pick up a 2-run lead for Wainwright, trying to pick up win number 20 tonight.
smash off the bat of Holiday. Here, Fielder is a good fielding first baseman, can't make the play, and it turns into an RBI single and helps Wainwright with a 2-0 lead.
So the Cardinals get 3 hits. I thought the second of those
generous.
Yeah, very much so. I thought the second of the three plays we just showed you, the hard hit ball to short, was more so of an error than maybe the play by Fielder. Fielder at least got a glove on it. That shortstop, as you mentioned, and you're right, he wanted no part of that.
Well, he got screened a little bit by Albert, the runner at second base, but you know, he played that so defensively, he played it into a base hit.
Here's Jody Garrett, followed by Escobar, the shortstop, and then Jason Kendall.
You know, this game has offense and defense, but if you're always an offensive player, and what I mean, even when you play defense and you're aggressive, you're usually going to make more plays than if you just try to be, you know, lay back on balls.
By the way, Bill Welke is the home plate umpire. Tim Welke, crew chief, is at first. James Hoy at second, and Jim Wolf over at third. And his brother Randy is the pitcher for the Dodgers. And you mentioned Dodgers very well could open up. And we could see Randy Wolf in game 1.
Sure. You see, well, that was what Joe Torre mentioned last week, but he could be in a position that Sunday. Well, the only thing is they wouldn't have a playoff if they went down to Sunday, because you know they're both going to go and because they, you know, one team is going to win it this series flat out. But you know both teams are going to go to postseason. Might be some jockeying with your starting lineup as to who you want to play.
By the way, just my personal opinion, I don't know if you agree with this, but I'm not sure why I feel this way. I just feel the Cardinals match up well against the Dodgers. I mean, I look at their I look at their pitching. Let me finish, Al, before you put me down and start.
I'm agreeing with you.
What?
I'm agreeing with you.
It's taken 130 games this year. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, I really do feel that I like the Dodgers matchup.
Just felt good, Al. You know. Here's our Toyota key matchup. It's the starters, and it's Looper and Wainwright. Opponents average 274, and this against the Central this season for Looper, and 222 for Adam Wainwright. 10-2 against the division. But when you look at the Dodgers, and Manny Ramirez has not been the same player that he was a year ago, that is a huge difference with their team.
And the Cardinals pitched him very tough, and he didn't do anything against him. But, you know, Broxton, their closer's having some problems. Billingsley, their starters, you know, isn't the all-star that he was the first half. You know, there's just a lot of things that, you know, and then you got to throw everything away, what happened in the regular season when you go into postseason. But that was a team for a couple weeks. I kind of said that's when I would like to open against, but you hate to say that because if it doesn't happen, then you're almost like disappointed.
And with Colorado, it just has never seemed like an easy place prior to the humidor or after the humidor to play. And that was certainly the case last weekend. Kendall hits it in the air to center, backing up Rasmus to make the catch. It'll be Molina, Ryan, and Wainwright coming up. It's 2-0. Okay, an interesting graphic here. The Cardinals against nationally playoff teams, and Cardinals went 5-2 against the Dodgers. The Rockies 1-6. Phillies 1-4. You see the ERA against the Phils almost near 8.
But look at the average. Cardinals were only hit 218. The Dodgers hit 266. Cardinals hit 206 against the Rockies, and they hit very well 300 against Phillies, but who did not pitch. So, throw those numbers out there. That every opponent that you match up is going to be an outstanding ball club, and somebody could get hot and pitch a terrific game against you, shut you down. But I think the Cardinals feel that with Carpenter, Wainwright, and Pinheiro, they're well armed for any opponent.
And Pinheiro has not had a great finishing month, and he'll get the start on Sunday. He is 15-12, roughed up with 3 home runs allowed. First time he did that all season long in his last start. It was against the Reds, and you get the feeling that Sunday could be a fairly big start for Joel, just to have one more good one before the postseason is here.
And that's, you just like to finish on a positive note, but you can be a veteran and going into postseason and without a track record, nobody knows how you're going to respond.
I'll put you on the spot and let you think about this for a little bit. 1 ball and 2 strikes. You always have to have those moments if you have a championship year that stick out. This is our final telecast of the season. These are 1 or 2 that, right away come to mind to me. The Pujols Grand Slam in Cincy, and even the one in New York that he hit too.
Yeah, the one in New York. It's amazing. It had the bases loaded.
He did some damage this year with the bases loaded.
Well, it's staggering when you think he almost had 1/4 of his runs, of his RBIs, have come when bases loaded situations.
First strikeout for Looper tonight, and it brings in Brendan Ryan.
And I think it's maybe something very different, because you're absolutely right. Every time you think about a championship, there's some of those magical moments. I think this may be a little different in the sense that the acquisitions that happened through the course of the season, I think those were just as monumental as any certain at-bats.
The first homestand after the trade for Holiday was against the Dodgers, and this building was energized. I mean, the stadium was electric, waiting for him in his first at-bat, in which he doubled. And then the series was so entertaining too.
Well, true, and that was playoff atmosphere, and Dodgers were.
Brendan hits it down the left field line. Extra bases here. 4th Cardinal hit tonight, and their 2nd double, the other by Albert Pujols.
And the Dodgers played extremely well in that game. They just came up short.
6, a serious number. The Cardinals score 6. You get a 20-ounce coffee. Found a frozen drink for just $0.25 the next day at On the Run and Mobile. Win or lose, Cardinals score 6. You score 25-cent drinks at On the Run. 1-out double for Brendan Ryan, and here's Wainwright. Looper just shaking his head. He's not happy. And really, he could have been out of that first inning with no damage done.
With a little bit of luck, a little better glove work behind him. You're right. Wow. Adams' mind is going, okay, if you give me that pitch, I can accept the strike call. He's trying to get out of the way of the pitch.
And an 0-1 pitch to Wainwright from Looper. Is there any doubt the biggest strikeout of the year was Giambi on Saturday night?
No, and that is a game that will stick out. Just a couple of recent outings, that one, to see the emotion on this final pitch, strikeout, knowing that he's coming out of that game. Remember, Carpenter had a similar situation, just pure emotion as they let out that roar after a key strikeout.
Little tapper to Looper, and now Ryan is in a rundown. Looper does the proper thing as he forces the runner back to his original bag, which in this case is second base. That is absolutely how you draw it up the proper way.
Now, the first thing you do is, like you say, instead of running back, close the gap. See him get in front of it, and if you can run him back to the base, all the better. And do not make that real quick throw, because that allows the runner to stay in that rundown long enough for Wainwright to get into move from first to second. But the way he did it, you get the lead man, and Wainwright can't put himself in scoring position.
Schumacher with 2 outs. And we've talked about it so much, but his transition to second base has been huge. In the long run, it's going to pay off big time for Skip Schumacher in his career, too.
Most definitely. He adds versatility as he'll play second, move to the outfield. And I'm looking at an option. You want to be a 4th or 5th outfielder, or you want to be about a $5 or $6 million everyday second baseman.
And the other thing, too, is that with his versatility, you stay in the games. You know, at first, Tony La Russa was using him to go to the outfield and then would double switch. And now he'll finish that game at second base. And he'll fly out here to Mike Cameron. We play 2-0 St. Louis. Three delicious varieties to choose from: deluxe, bacon and cheese, mushroom and Swiss. Time to break out the good china and sit up straight at McDonald's.
Aunt Rosie Farmington is watching this game, a huge Cardinal fan. We want to say hello to Aunt Rosie in Farmington.
Also had a very nice letter to all the guys and gals in our crew, Fox Sports Midwest, and the on-air folks from Dennis Middleton.
Yeah, it was nice. Appreciate it, Dennis.
Dennis out of Jacksonville, Florida. He has the MLB package and says he never misses a game on Fox Sports Midwest. So we appreciate the kind words, Dennis Middleton of Jacksonville, Florida. Here's Looper, who's hitting .207. We saw that he could handle the bat a little bit in St. Louis. No home runs, 8 RBIs. Lines out to right. 1 pitch, 1 away. Milwaukee starts play tonight, 77-82. 14 games out of first place. So they will finish this season below 500.
How about the American League Central? Detroit has a 2-game lead over Minnesota, but Detroit is losing 8-0. And Minnesota has a 5-0 lead over Kansas City.
A grand slam for Delman Young.
Boy, they could be 1 game back with 2 to play.
Here's a fly ball out to left. Holiday going out. Makes the catch in front of the track.
Adams got his fly ball pitches working here today, but as long as they end up in a glove, so be it.
Brings in Counsell, who flied out to center. It was a long first inning for Wainwright, who was under 40 pitches. He's had 37 tonight.
Now he's retired 6 in a row, looking for number 7.
The big question now is postseason play for the Cardinals, but also what to do with some pending free agents. Most notably Matt Holliday, and the club and Holliday elected to not have negotiations until the season is through, and then the Cardinals have About a 2-week exclusive window to negotiate with Holiday, and if he hits the open market, watch out. You would hope something could be done before then. 1 pitch to Counsell.
Being realistic, if something is not done before he hits the open market, it'd be very difficult for us to assume he'd be coming back.
Now you talk to him, and you talk to people that know him well, and he has really enjoyed his time in St. Louis.
Absolutely loves it here. He's a Midwestern kid, you know, Stillwater, Oklahoma. So many factors. You know, you say if you go for happiness, St. Louis is the perfect spot. But we don't know what his decision will be.
Here's an 0-2 pitch. They want to go inside. And that tied him up. How about that? Counsell couldn't hold up. 3rd strikeout for Wainwright. Welcome to mixed breed dog named Scooby and a marble tabby cat named Cricket from Open Door Animal Sanctuary. Adoption centers are available 7 days a week in every PetSmart store. All adoption centers at PetSmart are managed by local groups like Open Door Animal Sanctuary. And Jim worked so hard on that piece and worked so hard on the pregame show that he
had to leave, huh?
Had to go home.
Hey, but see, they listened to me. They had a cat this week along with the dog.
Josh Kenny helping out.
Snoopy, huh?
One ball and 2 strikes here at Colby Rasmus with Pujols on deck, and then Matt Holliday. How about the great work, though, that Jim, seriously, the great work that he did do this year. The pregame show, Pat Paris and Cal and Ricky. Really appreciate their efforts, but Jim makes our traveling a lot of fun. You can get a little idea of his personality, how much fun he is on the air, and believe us, off the air, it's just as fun, if not better. Great guy.
We do appreciate his work a lot. I mean, we get a chance to work with him more than Pat Paris, but same for Pat. And Ricky and Cal, you know, they're a different story.
2-2. So you're saying they're elevated in your mind, or?
Oh, no. They got work to do.
2-2.
Gotta get them a little meaner.
We need to get them on the road with you, Al.
That'll toughen them up, right?
Yes, it will. The 3-2, and Colby draws a walk. Well, you never want to do that. Walk somebody in front of Pujols, and Looper's just done it. Pujols, a bloop double to shallow right first time up, and he came around to score.
Well, Cardinal fans are happy about it because they know how important. One, Albert has to, set a new RBI record, and then he'll be in line to chase Fielder and Ryan Howard for the RBI title.
And Pujols a base hit into right. Hit and run was on. Rasmus flying around second on his way to third. Here comes Colby, and he'll score all the way from first base. Pujols picks up the RBI number 135, and he's 2 for 2.
Just like that. So 135 in RBIs.
It's the Hot Shots Exmo Cam, Hot Shots Sports Bar and Grill. They'll be buzzing. Just 1 block south the ballpark on Broadway as the playoffs are coming, and Colby was flying around the bases.
Now, they gave Albert a double on that, right?
I believe so.
So that would be 2 doubles here tonight and be his 45th.
And there's a swing and a miss by Holiday.
That got the first RBI of this game. Ludwig had an RBI in the first inning also.
And swing and a miss, 0-2.
Really has been able to handle Matt Holliday prior to tonight, and also Pujols. Pujols was only 2 for 9 against him, and Matt was 3 for 13 coming into tonight's action.
It's 1-2 the count.
That's why sometimes when you just look at even 10 or 11 at bats, really doesn't tell the story, because 2 for 9 is now 4 for 11.
Outside, way outside to Holiday. Evens it up at 2-2.
And you watch sometimes the body language from Looper as he gets frustrated with himself, not throwing strikes or locating the ball where he wants it.
The 2-2 pitch. Well, he had him 0-2, and now the count runs full. See that body language when Looper was with the Cardinals in any role, reliever or starter. You didn't see that very often, him shaking his head or kind of snapping at the ball when it's thrown back by Kendall, but tonight he's done that a few times.
And all that we're saying is that just tells a hitter who has a lot of confidence and increases that confidence. It feels like, okay, this guy's.
Holiday out to right, but the catch is made. Pujols is tagging up.
It's a catch. It's a catch. He was in the act of taking the ball out of his glove, so Albert did the right thing, tagging up. Garrett caught the ball, and then in the act of reaching into the glove to extract it, there's the catch. Reaches in, he loses the handle, but it's constituted a catch because he reached in and tried to extract the ball. A voluntary release.
Here's Ludwig, who has an RBI single. That was RBI number 93 for Ludwig back in the first inning. Infield drawn in, 3-0 Cardinals. Ludwig rips it fair past the third baseman, down into the corner. That's number 94 for Ryan Ludwig. Pujols scores easily, and it's 4-0 Cardinals. That's 4 doubles tonight for the Redbirds.
And of course, Ludwig has got 2 RBIs in a night. You know he wants to have consecutive seasons of 100 RBIs or more. And he just, ball moving down, just pulls it down into the left field corner. And Albert, chance to score and be a big cheerleader.
Should also mention the name of Dan Hyatt, one of the top researchers of baseball, current and historical data that he gives us on a nightly basis. He did a great job all year long. We met his lovely wife on the way home from Colorado to St. Louis.
He said she hasn't recovered yet from us.
As you just talked her ear off. That was all there was to it.
She was, what, visiting her sister?
Wedding.
And Dan was babysitting.
Here's a 1-1 pitch to Troy Gloss. Even a pitch right there. You know, some of the pitches that we saw yesterday, that one there, he didn't offer at it. Just get the feeling that he's seeing the ball fairly well.
Good point, Dan. You know, he is. You know, laying off pitches that are borderline, pitches that Looper wants, but he recognizes they're out of strike zone.
Two balls, 2 strikes.
Not sure Gloss knew the count.
Well, you have to ease yourself back in, Al.
Pitch that we were just praising him, he thought it was a called strike. We're laying off.
2-2. Ooh, on the inside corner. Gloss didn't like it.
Now he says, hey, you can't call it. The pitch a minute ago was a ball.
U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live is broadcasting from the Aqua Bar at Lumiere Place Casino. Player interviews, Tony La Russa, plus Pat Paris and Dr. Rick Horton break down the game. U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live after the game on Fox Sports Midwest.
Freddie, our good buddy, one of St. Louis's finest police officers, says there's an all-points bulletin out for Bob Griffin and Kenny Albert from out in Pershing, Missouri. Former police officers themselves. Freddie wanted to shout out to them.
Two outs, and here's Molina with a runner at second base. Molina struck out his first time up. Serves that one to right and out of play. He deserves a lot of credit, and I mean this in all sincerity. Brian Barton, Joe Thurston, first month of the season, what they did, got this team going, played a major role in a very good start in April. One was the player of the month. In doing so, you know, the Cardinals initially projected roughly around 2.8 million fans. After this weekend, folks, they'll be just shy of 3.4. 3.4. Now, 11 of the last 12 years, the Cardinals have drawn 3 million fans. But with that extra revenue, they went out and you get DeRosa, you get Holiday. Holiday meant a lot to this franchise, not just on the field, but all of a sudden the fans came out even more so. It was a sellout just about every night here.
Well, remember also that they had a grueling schedule. And obviously the team that left spring training, Gloss had the shoulder surgery. He was out. He was supposed to be your third baseman. Khalil Green, it wasn't long before he was on the disabled list. And so, you know, like you said, some of those spare parts, it became opportunities for a guy like Brendan Ryan. And Tony held this team together. They played well enough. They were in contention to where, as you said, the fans came through the turnstiles and the opportunity was there for John Mozeliak to pull the trigger, and ownership approved it.
And a 1-2 pitch now to Yachty. That's a base hit, right center field. Ludwig waved in. He will score 5-0 Cardinals. And we're just into third. And there it is, another base hit for Molina. And again, how many times have we said it? Yachty or Molina hits one to right.
That's also another true out base hit that you really like to see. You know, he can use the inside out stroke. You pitch him away, he could go that way with that pitch. And there was good balance, his hands back, and on an off-speed pitch, wasn't too far out in front where he could loft the ball out into the opposite field and gets his 54th RBI.
Brendan Ryan doubled to left first time up, 5-0 Cardinals. They're on a roll from yesterday and early here tonight. Wainwright on deck and 2 outs. First pitch taken for a ball. The mustache, he says, gets a little itchy, but still trying to grow it out, and he's going to go Raleigh fingers on us if we play deep in October and early November.
I think we'll see it in spring training.
And Brendan hits it to second base, and Cardinals strand a runner. We've got a guest coming up. He'll join us in the booth.
Yeah, who took you there? Why? You don't know the right. Yes, I know. Call me next time.
Top of the fourth, and the Cardinals own a 5-0 lead. And that's a place where Vince Coleman called home for a number of years, stealing that bag. Second base. Great to see you, Vince. How are you?
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Great to have you back. You threw out the first pitch not once, but twice. I don't know if the guys in the truck have it. I'm sure they do.
You know what the thing was is that Ozzie gave me the tip.
Oh,
he said, do not go on the pitcher's rubber. Stay down below on the grass and work your magic from there. But, you know, me as a big league player, I want to fantasize that I'm one of the best pitchers in the big league that I could have pitched. So I got up on the rubber, and the first one was a little wild. But that's okay. I'll be ready next time.
Well, it's great seeing you. By the way, Ryan Braun is the hitter for Milwaukee, 5-0 Cardinals. And before we ask you where you're at now, but here it is. Vince Coleman, for those at home. Ooh. Yeah, that was a better one. That was a better one.
That was the only one you were supposed to say. I did.
The other one went back to see the brick there in the Busch Stadium. That's okay, though. We don't have to show that one.
Right. That was good. Good form and technique.
Where are you living now?
San Diego.
That sounds like golfing weather.
Best part of the country. It's a great place to live. You know, it's so much to do there. I mean, great for the kids.
Sure. How many kids do you have?
Have 2 kids. 2 boys, 1 girl.
And
living there with me.
Okay. Are they fast like you?
The little girl, she's outstanding. She's a great little girl that can run, do on the trampoline right now, back flips, forward flips.
That's great. Now, Vince, you're wearing that Cardinal red. You should have been wearing this Cardinal red your entire career. You know that, right?
I know. I think about it all the time.
Do you really?
I go up in my trophy room and I look at the memorabilia and I see all the great memories. I see Ozzie and Jack Clark and Tommy Herr and John Tudor. And I think about the World Series in 1985 and 87, Whitey Herzog. I mean, it was just so many fun memories being at Busch Stadium. And, you know, you have an opportunity to come back here and share those moments. Chill bumps just run through my veins all day long. What was it about playing in St. Louis? And here's a 3-2 pitch to Braun, called on strikes. That's his 4th strikeout, Wainwright. When you look back in your time, and you were in such a special time of Cardinal baseball and the speed and the turf of the old stadium, what stood out for you when you think about your time here in St. Louis? Well, it was such a rich tradition. You know, you had all the history of Lou Brock and Bob Gibson and Stan Musier and Red Chaindeans, and you came here and the fans came and packed the ballpark, and you see all the red and the white, and it was just electrifying to walk into the stadium, and you hear your name called, and you get on base, and you want to steal a base, and you had your cadences that was correlated throughout the team, throughout the manager, and everybody knew once you got on base, something electrifying was going to happen. Now, you still have this body, don't you, Vince? Of course. I'm a 32-inch waist right now. It's about a 34 right now. Good for you. Well, you look like you still could be playing. I would love to. I was down earlier today giving my sales pitch to La Russa. And I was really? Like, hey, I would like to be back here. Base running and base stealing is such an intricate part of the game that manufacturer runs. I would love to be in the organization one day. Well, I'm curious about this because we've had Lou Brock on a couple of times, and he talks about his theories of base stealing. This is Mike Cameron, by the way, 2 outs and the 0-1 pitch. And we're having a quick inning, so I might have to keep you here. But your thoughts on base stealing right now, because it seems to be a lost art. It's such a lost art of the game, but then again, you know, it's one of those things where you have to have that knack, no fear. And it's something that you have to be a gift for, and with the chemistry within your ball club, you have to have a manager that want to institute it, take the chances, be aggressive, because I think that's the solid foundation of being a successful ball club. We're going to keep you, okay? That's right. Stay for a half inning? I stay all night. Awesome. All right. Vince Coleman is with us. Casino Queen Hotel and Casino, home of the losers slots.
Adam Wainwright will lead it off for the Cardinals. Vince Coleman is with us. Always nice to catch up with a former Cardinal that was such an important part of a great run of Cardinal history in the 80s here in St. Louis. And Vince, we're talking about base stealing. Is there a guy right now that you'll say, hey, that guy's got it? He can steal some bases. I like the way that he does it in today's current game.
Today's current game is totally different. I mean, you have to have a manager that expects for you to go out, and you yourself have to want to do it day in and day out. I mean, for myself, you know, when I came to the ballpark, Ozzie and Willie and Terry, we would always bet each other who would steal the most bases that night.
Is that
and
right?
Whoever lose would have to pay for dinner on the road for the next trip.
That's great.
Obviously, I never lost, but I would love to make that bet because, you know, Whitey gave us the green light, the freedom to run day in and day out. And with that in mind, after you get your base hit, there's a long drive to left field. It's back. It's off the wall.
Keep going if you want to do it.
He's rounding third base. It's going to be a play down there. He's in there. He's safe.
Nice job, Vince.
All right.
Get Al back in here, Vince. You got the mic.
Look at Oquendo down there. That's going to be the next manager right there, Oquendo.
Former teammate.
Former teammate. And once Oquendo get the job, I'll be the first base coach. Oquendo was the first guy that I ever take playing golf.
Is that right?
Is that right? That's right. So we have a rapport together. We go way back. We like family.
Take a look at this.
Wainwright got some little athletic ability there. Look at him there. He's driving around those bases with good stride there. I mean, he's a great athlete. He's a good golfer.
Terrific golfer.
He's a scratch golfer. He plays a lot with John Smoltz. And
have you played with Smoltz?
I play with Smoltz a lot. We play every year at Michael Jordan's event down in Bahamas. He's the defending champion, John Smoltz. And I was just speaking with him earlier down in the locker room today. And I won that golf tournament twice. And Smoltz won last year. So
Schumacher pops it up. Vince Coleman, what is your handicap?
My handicap is about a 0.
Really? Really?
Yes. I'm not that good, but I just beat good players.
By the way, stolen bases, this is the leader, Albert Pujols, 16 this year.
You know, I look at all the guys throughout. You asked earlier about the guys who can play during the era of the 85, 87 team. He would be one guy that I can insert into our lineup.
Oh, I would think so.
That's a complete ball player.
Yeah, I would think so.
Because if he didn't steal bases, I mean, we had John Tudor and Joaquin Andujar stealing bases during those days.
Sure.
You know, so you had to go out and steal bases. You had to run. You had to be excited.
Whitey, to me, from the outside looking in, would seem to be, for a guy like you and Willie and Terry and Ozzie, so much fun to play for. So much fun to play for.
Whitey only had 2 rules. Show up on time and give 110%. I mean, if you made an aggressive error, he loved it. I mean, if you hit a ball in the gap, depending on what the situations are, the games, whatever, dictate who was coming up batting second. You know, but if you stayed aggressive on the bases, then you was great.
And how about when you think back to playing the Mets and all those great games, and you think of Terry Pendleton's famous home run at Shea Stadium and just the rivalry, you know, what comes to mind when you think about not postseason play, but facing the Mets?
Well, throughout the year, you know, the Mets and the Cardinals had the biggest rivalry through my 85, 87 years. It was always 1-2, 1-2. You had Gary Carter as a catcher. That was my guy that I wanted. And the Mets never threw me out. They never threw many Cardinals out, for that matter. But like you say, you see Terry Pendleton come up and hit that big home run. I remember Doc Gooden coming in, pitching, and there's a swing and a base hit.
It's 6-0 now. Rasmus the base hit.
Oh my God! So, you know, with those, Howard Johnson playing against Captain McReynolds and Doc Gooden, Bobby Ojeda, Viola, David Cone, beating those guys was very, very inspirational, because we always looked at them as the best team in the league. So in order to be the best, you had to beat the best.
Sure.
And that's the way we approach each and every day, is to be the best, you had to beat the best, and they was the best, but we beat them when it was time to beat them.
And Exmo Camp presented by Hot Shot Sports Bar and Grill. Now, here's Pujols, and you talk about a complete player, probably on his way to an MVP, and now on his way to a double play, 6-4-3. Vince, time is too short.
Oh, yes.
I know you're busy around the ballpark.
Pleasure. Great being back here in St. Louis.
Come back more often, will you?
Invite me back. Give me a job.
Huge thank you to the fans across Cardinals Nation for all of your support here in this 2009 season. Nearly 3.4 million of you came through the turnstiles here at Busch Stadium. And of course, millions more joined via radio and TV broadcast, and we look forward to 2010, but it's been a great year. First pitch fouled back. Wainwright now with a 6-0 lead.
It's pretty good, doesn't it? He looks like he's determined to close out this season as a 20-game winner. How about the way he hustled on his triple?
Initially, watching him around second, I thought
he stopped, or it looked like he was going to stop.
And then he slipped a little bit more.
Yeah.
And Pujols has got it. By the way, Vince Coleman was in here, and we saw that Prince Fielder on a ground ball did not run, and he slipped at home plate. That's why you didn't see him come into your picture at home. So Jody Garrett lines out to Pujols, and it brings in Escobar. Now the question for Tony and Dave Duncan, pitch count at 54. Here we are in inning number 5. How far do you want to extend Adam Wainwright tonight?
Well, I think the way it's going right now, you give him at least 6. Hopefully you keep that shutout. Hopefully you can add to the lead, and you feel comfortable that you can. You would hate to take him out when he's pitching so well and with a low pitch count, and have him lose. You know, have the team lose the lead for him.
0-2 the count. Well, that was fun visiting with Vince Coleman.
Fun guy, isn't he?
Oh, he's great. I mean, the chance to meet him over the last few years and talk about those 80s teams. Backhanded by Schumacher, and makes the play. 2 outs. In steps Jason Kendall. He's flied out to center. Let's update the American League Central, really the last division that's in question, along with what the seeding may be in the National League. But Minnesota pounding Kansas City 8-0 on both sides, and Detroit will not win tonight. Minnesota looks like they will, which then means
1 game.
Yeah, they're within 1 game with 2 to play.
That's the way it should be.
Outfield very shallow and a big gap into left center.
And whoever wins that division, there's no wild card issue, as Boston has locked that up.
This is popped out. Molina throws the mask, gives it a look, in, out of play. Our producer all season long, Mike Helling. Our director, Tom Mee, who you saw in the pregame show with his new book out, Cutting the Game. Brian McCann has been with us all season long. Keith O'Brien and Danny Martinez. Tim Garcia, Big Dog. Our great crew here in St. Louis, as they, of course, go through an awful lot throughout the season. Rain, the sunshine, the heat, cool weather to start the year, but they do just such a remarkable job. We can't thank them enough.
It's cold weather, and of course the crew, the camera ones, we're giving all those kudos to, because cold weather and hot weather, as the guys in the truck are in air conditioning and heating.
Al just had to get a dig on you guys, didn't he? 6-0 midway through 5.
How many times in Major League history has a pitcher had more RBIs in a game than innings pitched? What a great question that is. How many times has a pitcher had more RBIs than innings pitched? 3 times. Yesterday with Chris Carpenter, Robert Persons in 2002, and Vic Radish back in 1953. Remember Robert Persons? He's St. Louisan.
Right.
Was he with Philly or was he with Toronto? Well, we had to be with Philly because Toronto has DH.
We did a few of his games.
Yeah, we sure did. And Carpenter.
I want to say, wasn't he from U City? Does that sound right?
I think so.
Here's Matt Holliday. The Cardinals lead it 6-0. And a little chopper left side. Nice play. And that takes a hit away from Holliday. Don't get hurt running to first.
And I think that's a little more indicative of the defense of Milwaukee than what we saw in the first inning behind Looper.
Remember last time we saw Milwaukee, their third baseman then was Casey McGee. And he only put up 9 RBIs in those 3 games. Don't forget about the Cardinals cruise. Tropical ports of the Caribbean, January 23rd through the 30th. Cal McClellan part of it, Brendan Ryan, Mike Matheny, and others. And if you'd like to find out more, 968-9600 for more information on the Cardinals cruise. And that's pulled to third. Counsell, 2 outs. Ludwig retired. And we turn to our this date in baseball history presented by Schnucks. Bob Gibson sets a World Series record with 17 strikeouts against the Tigers in Game 1 at 68. Gibby in our this date in baseball history. Again, thanks to the folks at Schnucks and all our sponsors this season on Fox Sports Midwest.
We've gotten to know several of our sponsors personally, and not only are they great friends, but they do a great job in the community, and appreciate everyone supporting their causes.
Troy Gloss was called out on strikes, and he's shaking his head again. Remember the pitch that he saw in the last at bat was on the inside corner, maybe a little bit low, but didn't like it. Didn't like that one. That looked pretty good. By the way, my golf tournament to benefit the Special Education Foundation coming up October 12th at Norwood Hills Country Club. October 12th, Norwood Hills. Number to call 314-567-8100. 314-567-8100. And over the years, in 6 years of that golf tournament, which we have a brunch golf dinner auction, it's raised over $1 million, and 100% goes back into the community. So if a young man or young lady needs a hearing aid or a wheelchair or some type of special service, we are able to provide that. We write a check right there, and boom, there you go. No questions asked. And it's something that is I'm very proud of, and I know a lot of the people associated with the special school district are very happy that we do this. But 100% goes back to the kids in St. Louis, and we'd love to have you out there. The players have been great. They've signed jerseys and balls and memorabilia. And again, that number to call, 314-567-8100, October 12th at Norwood Hills Country Club.
Well, you've done a great job with that over the years, and
I appreciate it, Al.
Commended for that.
Cardinal fans, when it comes to tickets, you deserve Major League service. Go online to StubHub. It's the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Cardinals and the only site with Fan Protect guarantee. And here's Molina with 2 outs. Fly ball out to deep right. That will carry to the track, and falling down and making the catch, the right fielder. And that's Garrett. Good play. He fell against the wall there. Cardinals Live, our post-game show after playoff games. Jim Hayes traveling with the team. And don't forget, after every playoff game, we'll have Cardinals Live. So just like you see on the regular season telecast, you can watch the games and then flip over to us and check out Cardinals Live in the post-game show. Good folks from Centru Bank, proud sponsor of Cardinals baseball all season long. They're with us. And glad to have them up in the booth. The pitch is taken upstairs by Looper. Been knocked around a bit. He's given up 9 base hits. Wainwright is allowed just 1 hit. And that was the first pitch of the game to Felipe Lopez. And since then, he has settled in. And you don't know how this game would have turned out if some plays in that first inning were made behind Looper. All of a sudden, he's able to settle in. A fly ball to right center. Rasmus there for the first out.
Hey, Dan, Little Patriots Embrace has partnered with Heartland Banks for the 2nd annual toy drive in support of military children at the holidays. So starting November 1st, ending November 30th, new unwrapped toys can be dropped off at Heartland Banks in St. Louis metro area. And these toys will be given at the holiday to our deployed military families, the kids back home. And if more information, www.littlepatriotsembrace.org or call 314-567-5777. Great cause, and we need to think of those families. At the holidays, those kids are back home without their moms or dads, or they're deployed overseas, and we can't thank their dads, those heroes, enough.
And you've been doing some of the work with them over at the saloon, right?
Well, we've had a couple fundraisers there. We do something annually, but there's a great organization, and like a lot of the charitable organizations this year, their funding is down, so this is a way we can help. And they'll take monetary donations also. $30, you can make a military family pretty happy at holidays when one of their loved ones is overseas deployed.
Three and 1 the count here on Lopez. And he'll hit that the opposite way and into the seats. Wainwright got to 3 and 1, fell behind, and then see him just slow down, kind of collect himself a little bit. And there's a called third strike. And no argument from Lopez. 7 tonight for Wainwright. This week it's Fox NFL Sunday, our doubleheader, beginning with Eli Manning and the Giants. They'll battle the Chiefs. Seahawks take on the Colts, Lions and Bears, Rams and 49ers. Rams need a win in the worst way. Mike Singletary and the 49ers are playing very good football, and minus an unbelievable play by Brett Favre in Minnesota, they'd be undefeated. I don't know if you knew this, Al, but Monday Night Football, Brett Favre playing the Packers.
Yeah, it's not the Vikings, just Brett.
That's ripped, and that ball is fair. It'll hit off the sidewall, played perfectly there by Ludwig. He'll fire it into second base. And Console in there safely. What will this fall bring us? Watch the 09 Major League Baseball postseason on Fox and TBS to find out. The excitement begins on October 7th with the Division Series on TBS. This is Beyond Baseball. Ryan Braun, the hitter, with 2 outs and a runner at second base. Ooh, look at that curveball. Nice pitch.
71 miles an hour, and Braun, a very good hitter in his own right. Just comes up empty as he's way out in front.
30th birthday to DJ Owens of the Sunday Morning Rugby Club. Doesn't miss a telecast here on Fox Sports Midwest. There's another one. He hung that one. Braun drills it out to deep left field, and one hops off the wall. So Milwaukee will get on the board. Ryan Braun with a double, back-to-back doubles here by Counsell and Braun.
It's the old theory, you throw enough of those curveballs, eventually you're going to hang one. And he does so, and this time, see, instead of being outside, it's middle half in, and now you've got full plate coverage. Drills it down to the corner.
You hear some of the boos for Prince Fielder. That's because of his last at bat. He never ran after grounding out to shallow right field. They had the shift on, and it was because Fielder fell as he swung.
It just looked bad, you know, instead of getting up and at least making some effort. And here's what you were talking about. He falls down and picked up his helmet. Now the play virtually was already made, but you know, fans want to see it something, but probably a lot of them did not realize he fell down.
Braun at second base. 1 ball, no strikes here in the 6th with 2 outs. Fielder has walked and then that ground out. What a year he has had. Two balls, no strikes on Fielder. And that crossed up Molina, and he'll chase it down. Braun will stop at third. So pass ball on Molina.
Crossed him up is what it sure looked like, but
first base wide open for Fielder if you want to put him on. Cardinals walked Fielder back in the 1st. And that's a strike.
kind of pitched around him, but they were not worried if ultimately they walked him back there in the 1st.
What's on Tap is presented by Bud Light. The difference is drinkability. What's on Tap for us will be spring training, and tomorrow you can see the action on KSDK with Ricky Horton and Jay Randolph. Tomorrow at noon, KSDK will have the coverage against the Brewers. Our Bud Light What's on Tap. Here's Mike Cameron with runners at first and third with 2 outs.
Cutter right there. He's thrown that pitch, that and the curveball to Cameron all night, and he struck him out both times.
Wainwright has struck out 7 tonight.
Set up inside,
and that's strike 2. Keep mentioning the pitch count, Al, and it's at 80, but we're paying close attention to it. And certainly you have to think Tony La Russa is as well.
Yeah, I'm not as concerned that he had 130 pitches last time out. You mentioned he had an extra day. He's big, strong. He doesn't. He has such a work program that he throws so few pitches to begin his warm-ups, down in the bullpen before a game. And I kind of look at 80 pitches around there, about 80 to 90, and I thought that if he had a big enough lead, maybe 6-1 is big enough, and go 6 innings, that may be what you're looking at tonight. You know, Wainwright and Tony has full confidence that that bullpen would close it out for him.
1-2 pitch. Cameron, a swing and a miss. 2 strikeouts for Wainwright here in the 6th, and already 8 this evening. 6-1 Cardinals. Hot shots, and let's take a look at the curveball here from Adam Wainwright.
He takes that finger, index finger off the ball, but hitters can't pick that up. And then you see that tight spin and rotation. Starts out shoulder high or above and falls down below the knees. Very tough pitch.
And a foul tip. Brendan Ryan leads it off for the Cardinals. And Ryan at Wainwright's spot, nobody on deck, and then we'll see the top of the lineup.
You know, if Danny Herron has made his last,
I believe yesterday he did.
I believe so too. So, and Lincecum doesn't have, didn't he also?
Right.
Yeah, they pitched against each other. That's right. So Wainwright will have the top innings pitch right now. He's at 233, and Herron would be second place at 229 in the third. So that's another factor. Just want to make sure he finishes with the most innings in the National League, and apparently they're going to let him go at least one more.
Good to see Gary Bennett back at Busch Stadium. Gary Bennett is in the booth behind us with his 2 little boys.
Yeah, they're 6 and 9. I think he told me before the game.
Gary knows a thing or two about Adam Wainwright and that curveball. Don't forget, live from Sweden tomorrow on Fox Sports Midwest. Our telecast beginning at 1:30. The Blues, congratulations to them. They beat Detroit today, 4-3 over in Sweden.
Played very well.
Paul Correa, a couple of the goals. He's a big part of that team this year.
Yeah, boy, if he could be healthy, that makes a difference.
Huge. With the surgery on his hips. They got Eric Johnson back, the former #1 overall pick. And Kendall, he needed his glove.
Yeah. Hey, happy birthday late to Susan Fickle. Her birthday was on September 26th, but you don't get mail on the road. So happy birthday. She lives in extreme southwest corner of McDonald County, Missouri.
2-1 is chopped to short. Backhanded by Escobar. Slips, throws, and throws wildly. Base hit for Adam Wainwright. It was Carpenter yesterday with 6 RBIs, and Wainwright today with a triple and now a single.
And young shortstop goes back on the grass, tries to set his feet, and the back leg slips out from under him, forcing a little bit of a high throw. But once he slipped, I thought Wainwright had to beat out, and I think that was, so this kid may have a lot of talent, but he's got some work to do defensively.
And here is Schumacher with 1 out and a runner at first. (6-1) Cardinal lead here in the 6th, and they'll play behind with the pitcher Adam Wainwright at first, and a lefty at the plate, Schumacher. Skip today is 0 for 3. First pitch taken a little bit low. He's popped out, flied out, and grounded out.
And that average is 301. You just hope he doesn't put too much pressure on himself. Schumacher, he has 8 multi-hit games in his last 14 starts, and 426 during that time.
That's popped up. We've seen where guys have been at 300 or just above, and a final game or two, and they'll actually sit in those games to assure themselves of finishing above 300 or at 300.
Well, that'd be a decision for Tony to make, and not Schumacher, because he would never beg out or want to hit 300 that way. I think he'd rather just have a couple explosive games. Leads the club in 3-hit games. I don't know if I'd want somebody to sit out 2 games and then not play until Wednesday. One of my regulars. 1 game, fine.
Big gap in right center field for Schumacher. It's it out of play. Two balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, runner at first. Ground ball to Fielder. On to second, and nobody at the bag at first, and Schumacher is safe. Cooper was a little late getting over.
Yeah, I was going to say, they really have not played a real heads-up game here tonight defensively. And one little thing right here, late in covering, and it costs you. See, a little late break, and Schumacher beats him to the bag, and you never know.
It was a late break, and then he didn't really aggressively go towards first base.
Correct.
In the final weekend of the regular season, you've seen enough PFP to make that happen, huh?
Well,
should be automatic.
Yes, and you just got to play it out. I mean, this is your last start of the year. He does have a mutual option for next year so whether the club has to show to want to come for him to come back, and he does also. But he's a potential free agent.
And Colby pops it up. Foul territory. Council over the third base coaching box, and he'll make the catch. We played 6 here at Busch Stadium, and the Cardinals have a 6-1 lead. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. First pitch to Jody Garrett is a strike. It's 6-1 Cardinals here in the top of the 7th. Wainwright's ERA has gone from 2.52 to 2.55 in the 6th inning by giving up just 1 run. You have to wonder if he's on his way to the Cy Young Award.
Win number 20, I think it'd be hard to deny. You know, he's came in, I think, 4th in strikeouts. He's got 8 here tonight. That'd be 212. You know, he'll lead the National League in wins and in innings pitched. Has 1 complete game. His ERA was 3rd coming in. You just hope that Carpenter and Wainwright don't split the vote. You really couldn't go wrong with a split to come Carpenter or Wainwright, could you?
No. Off the end of the bat, a little broken bat there, and a base hit for Jody Garrett.
And they're getting the bullpen active now.
Visit the official online shop of the Cardinals at STLCardinals.com for the largest selection of authentic postseason caps, T-shirts, jerseys, and more. Get your playoff gear straight from the source, STLCardinals.com. Shop today.
And that's McClellan warming up. As Dave Duncan will come out and talk to him, and so McClellan will have enough time to warm up if they wanted to, that they could bring him in right now. But Bobby questioning how you feel. You'd like to think they're going to want to keep him right around that 90 pitch mark. You would kind of season he'd have. You'd love to have him not have to come out in the middle of an inning.
I was doing my quick math.
Yes,
the ERA has gone from 2.58 to 2.55. So he's given up the 1 run in 6 innings so far. And he's going to finish out in the top 5 of many categories as far as the pitchers in the National League are concerned. Pitch count at 87 for Wainwright, and he is set to go in Game 2 of the division series upcoming week. This is Alcides Escobar. 1 ball, no strikes. Nobody out here in the 7th. 6-1 St. Louis. Base hit into right. So the first 2 have reached. It's 1st and 2nd, nobody out.
Without a lot further damage, he will finish 3rd in ERA. He's in the top 5 in winning percentage. It's in the 3rd in home ERA average, and we'll talk all more as Tony's going to take him out of this ball game. Can only be the winner, and McClellan will be coming in.
And you're going to hear a loud ovation for Adam Wainwright. Could be on his way to 20. So here's McClellan against Jason Kendall. And this is our Chevy call to the bullpen. Solid year here for Kyle McClellan in relief of Adam Wainwright. And during our break, Wainwright received a curtain call. Now, I'm sure pitchers have gotten a curtain call maybe after a big play with the bat. I'm not sure I've ever seen that. Have you?
No, usually when they're coming off the field is the only applause they get, but the fans demanded him to come out for the curtain call.
And that's just foul. So this is just a few minutes ago, and the curtain call from Wainwright.
You feel a little weird doing it, because in one sense they had to bring out a reliever to get you out of the inning, but he gave the fans what they want, and he appreciates it.
Matt Gamble is on deck.
Wainwright first in wins, first in innings pitched, third in ERA.
There's a good breaking ball, and it's strike two on Kendall. By the way, Kyle McClellan says he gets, and he was telling me this yesterday, that every 2 weeks or so he'll get a migraine headache to the point that if he tries to get out of bed, he'll become nauseous and sick to his stomach. He said earlier this year he had a game where he pitched with a migraine. He said he wasn't sure how he was going to make it, but he said other guys were on the shelf, so to speak, that they were off limits for Tony La Russa, so had to gut through it. He was saying that he thought he might get sick to his stomach out there in front of 40,000 people.
Well, that's enough incentive to keep you from doing that. So, but never had a migraine, but sometimes, when you don't feel well like that, you get out there on the mound and you're able to overcome it just because you have more. Everything else takes precedent. I don't know if that would be with migraines. Say if you have them, they're pretty bad.
Check swing did not go. 2-2 the count. Jason Kendall is your hitter. 8th place hitter is 0 for 2. What a night for Adam Wainwright. 5 hits allowed. He strikes out 8. Kendall, by the way, is fly to center and struck out back in the 5th. Foul ball.
It's a good test because people ask us how the bullpen will formulate late in the game, and we always say Kyle McClellan is going to be that kind of get to or bridge the gap guy from the starter to Franklin. So here's a game right now that he can show what he can do.
Pitching coach Dick Pohl of the Reds was fired today. He just finished up his 3rd season with the team.
Find that very interesting, as there's a lot of speculation that we hear that Dave Duncan may not come back.
So Dick Pohl and his reaction. Phillips didn't turn that double play. He was upset. Again, we have no idea what's going to happen with Dave Duncan, who's a free agent to be. And
well, let's say this.
Tony La Russa is also up.
Ooh. Very close pitch there. Walks. The base is full. And we all know that if Dave Duncan wants to return here, he's going to return to St. Louis.
Base is loaded, and now Gamble. So things get interesting here in the 7th. Gamble's got some power. He hit his first ever home run against the Cardinals earlier this year.
Some big, important runs out there. The 2 of them are Adam Wainwright, but also Cardinals need to acquire wins.
Six innings and 6 runs, all earned by Braden Looper tonight of the Milwaukee Brewers.
Gamble was one of their, along with the shortstop, Escobar was the Brewers 2008 minor league players of the year. He was projected to be their 3rd baseman in the future, and then Casey McGee has kind of taken that spot away from him.
Good block there by Molina. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Jake Peavy shuts out Detroit. And Edwin Jackson tonight. Peavy's 3-0 for the White Sox.
Kenny Williams did say that trade was not just for the stretch run, but looking well beyond 2009 for the White Sox to solidify their rotation. Dick Paul was with Dusty Baker for a number of seasons.
He's been with Dusty Baker ever since Dusty, going back to the Arizona Fall League, started managing.
2-2 and a swing and a miss. I think it's important to say we have no idea what Dave Duncan where his future lies. Pitch by pitch presented by Chevrolet.
Gets ahead of him there. Good breaking balls. Then 0-2. Tries to get him to chase one in the dirt. Tries to get him to go up the ladder. And then he gets him outside as he swings over the top of it. So a big strikeout with the bases loaded. Still only the first out of the inning.
And that scoots away from Molina under his glove, under the body into the backstop, so a run will score. And your potential double play may hurt you too.
It's a wild pitch, but a ball that is blocked 99 times out of 100 by Molina. As sitting high goes down to block it, puts the glove down between the legs, but it gets underneath and a run scores. It's charged to Wainwright, second earned run.
So 1 out, runners at second and third, 2 balls, no strikes. Felipe Lopez, 1 swing of the bat could cut this lead to 6-4. And he will. That's a base hit up the middle. 1 run is in. Will they test him? Nope. Hold up the runner at third. Cuts the lead to 6-3. It's Kendall, who used to be a leadoff man with the Pirates, their catcher, who was rounding third, then held up.
Down and away, just rifled back up the middle. Base hit and RBI for Lopez. His second hit, first RBI. And so Wainwright 6+, 5 hits, 3 runs are all earned. 2 walks, 8 strikeouts.
Runners at first and third.
Now the potential tying run is at home plate. And the big guns behind Counsell. Trevor Miller's warming up. That'll be ready for Fielder. And Cardinals will be in trouble if he gets up this inning.
So the tying run at the plate. Counsell here. Cal needs a double play. Wainwright finishes up his season at 2.63. The ERA 2.63.
That's fine ERA, but he climbs from third to now to fourth place behind Jurgens and in front of Happ. Bensley, bunch him in the outfield, pretty much straight away.
Few finals already in. Arizona beat the Cubs 12-3. White Sox officially blank Detroit now. Final 8-0. Florida over Philadelphia 7-2. Mets beat Houston 7-1. Pittsburgh over the Reds 3-1. Molina looking for it. It's at his feet. A similar pitch like that got through him. 2-2 the count.
You wonder if that knee and that quad bother him a little bit. As we've always said, that all pitchers have the confidence to bounce a breaking ball with runners at third with the Gold Glover back behind the plate.
2-2 pitch. Check swing, chase the ball.
excuse me, swing. Didn't mean to swing at the pitch up out of the strike zone.
Ooh, a little bit low outside.
Big pitch now, 3-2.
And the pitch is popped up and out of play. Started the runner there from first with 1 out.
And Felipe Lopez, you feel that he would be running. Now Albert's going to play behind the runner at first base. Going to run anyway.
By the way, with that series tonight, the Dodgers and Rockies, good pitching matchup. Ubaldo Jimenez faces Randy Wolf in that series opener, which is in Los Angeles.
And it's underway.
3-2. Line drive, base hit, run will score. Cuts the lead to 6-4. These fans know what's at stake. Win number 20 for Wainwright. They're a little bit restless.
And ball up out over the plate, and Counsell drives in a run. It's his 38th. Ryan Braun will be coming up. Runners at first and second. And he will represent the go-ahead run. Trevor waiting for Prince Fielder. Dave Duncan trying to get a double play.
Braun has doubled deep left field his last time up in the 6th. The 33rd sold out crowd here in 2009 at Busch Stadium. 44,331 tonight. 4-4-3-3-1. Braun lines it down the right field line. 1 run is in. Counsell on his way to third. He'll be waved in. And it's a 6-6 game.
This pitch up out over the middle of the plate, and this crowd is really just disappointed because Wainwright is now denied his 20th victory. We're not fighting for McClellan, but it's more the fact that it victimizes Wainwright's 20th opportunity.
Our Chevy called to the pen. Trevor Miller coming in for St. Louis. delivered. By Steel Outdoor Power Equipment. Powerful, lightweight, dependable, versatile. Yard care solutions. Start at steeldealers.com. And the new 3rd-pound Angus burgers are here. Try one for yourself today, only at McDonald's. Six game, top of the 7th. And Miller in to face Fielder.
Good scenario for Trevor Miller. He's first in the major leagues and inherited runners not scoring. Only 7 of 51 have scored, and left-handed batters only batting 118 against him.
There is nobody in this stadium that feels worse right now than Kyle McClellan.
No doubt about it. Actually, he's probably apologizing to Wainwright, and Wainwright's probably trying to console him.
That's one that sticks out that you remember. There's no doubt. Runner at second base. 1 ball, 1 strike on Fielder.
Earlier you were talking about games that stick out. This is not the way you were talking about.
Right. Fielder 0 for 1 with a couple of walks. Rounded out to second base back in the 4th. Walked in the 6th and in the 1st. Good breaking ball. 1-2. Fielder a ground ball to second, and there's 2 away.
Well, Carpenter over there trying to talk to him, and in some ways it's out of Adams' control or Carpenter's control. Now the most important thing is winning this ball game, and Trevor got his man. Mott will come in to get Cameron.
Well, history was made tonight by Tampa Bay. We'll tell you what happened when we return. 6-6, top of the 7th with 2 outs. And the Big Ten Network.
Well, this game was turned around in a way we didn't think it would, but right now the most important thing is for the Cardinals to win it, and Mott has a chance to come in here and show that he's pitching well enough to have a prominent role down the stretch and into the postseason.
Numbers on Mott: 69th appearance, 4-4. He's been very good here as of late.
Yeah, he had a rough spell early, middle part of the season after a rough start. Gave up the home run ball. Was happening frequently, but of late he's kind of Didn't pitch there for a while, but of late he's kind of turned it back up a notch and pitching well.
Here comes the go-ahead run, and the Brewers have the lead.
Now the ball that this one is much tougher to block, and it gets away as it bounced so far up in front of the plate. And Molina, remember, he's playing with that bad knee and also a quad. And you can tell right there he's a little limited in his mobility as he tried to get to that ball and then try to scoop it up and get back to the plate, but he never had control of the ball.
So the Milwaukee Brewers have picked up 6 runs here in the 7th.
3 hits, 4 runs all night. 1 walk, 1 strikeout, 1 wild hit. 3rd inning, 3 hits, 4 runs.
A ball and 2 strikes here on Mike Cameron with 2 outs. And that slice is foul out of play.
Kyle McClellan's ERA just took a hit. In the 3rd of an inning, three hits and a walk, so 4 runs all earned and a strikeout.
High fly ball out to right. The inning will come to a close. 6 runs for Milwaukee. They have the lead 7-6. A 7-6 lead. What has happened here at Busch Stadium? The air has been let out of the building, it seems like, after they picked up 6 runs in the 7th. A postseason preview. The hitting leaders for the Phillies. They're headed to postseason play. 3rd consecutive year. Ryan Howard's had an MVP-type season. Possible rotation. You see it there, but the big question is, we started our telecast with the closer, Brad Lidge or Ryan Madson. Lidge, 11 blown saves. You see Madson with 6, so 17 combined between the two. And that's something to obviously think about with the Phillies in postseason play.
And that's not Madsen. That's not with a whole lot of opportunities. So Charlie Manuel is not so secure who's going to go in there. As here comes Big Todd Coffey. He's going to come in here now pitching with the lead. First time all night Milwaukee's had a lead. They've come back from a 6-0 deficit to now a 7-6 lead. Coffey appearing for the 77th time, 4-4 record, 25 holds, ERA under 3. Well,
mention that there was history in Tampa Bay against the Yankees tonight. B.J. Upton, first player in Rays history to hit for the cycle. Hits for the cycle against the New York Yankees. We have Vince Coleman up here, and you think about B.J. Upton with his speed. It's fun having Vince here. So we move to the bottom half of the seventh and a 7-6 Milwaukee lead. Well, this is something that is newsworthy for the Cardinals. Hiroki Kuroda, the Dodgers' best starter last season in their postseason run, will not pitch in the division series next week because of a small disc herniation in his cervical spine. And Joe Torre made that announcement this afternoon. So Kuroda out for the division series.
And it's early, but Colorado takes a 2-0 lead and still batting against the Dodgers in the first inning.
1 ball, 1 strike on Albert Pujols.
Colorado trails by 2 with 3 to play in Los Angeles.
Pujols with a pair of doubles tonight.
I have a feeling that Coffey, I mentioned he's allowed 8 home runs. This could be number 9.
And Pujols hits it into right center field. Leadoff base hit. Tying run is on. So Pujols with 3 base hits this evening.
Came in batting .375 in September, and adds to that with his 3-for-4 performance. And we still got a ways to go. You know, these guys felt like they wanted to come out, and they did so. And having that 6-0 lead for Wainwright, they wanted to see the mission accomplished on the 20th win, but now they want to see the 92nd victory. Philadelphia did win today. They pushed their win total to 93.
Should mention on the cover of the Game Day magazine features Chris Carpenter and Adam Wainwright. Steve Zesh and his crew, they do just a remarkable job with that magazine, and nice cover story on those two this month's edition.
I was incorrect. I apologize. Marlins beat Philadelphia 7-2.
And a 1-0 pitch to Holiday. Check swing. And he did not go. 2-0.
So the Cardinals, they win this game, they could be 92-68, have the same record as Philadelphia, chasing Los Angeles, who has 93 wins for most wins in the National League. By Coffey is Holiday gave it a rip, fouled it back. The 25th home run of the year would look good right now.
3-1 pitch. Holiday rips it off the glove, possibly of the shortstop. Albert on his way to third base. No hesitation there. He's in there safely. And it's first and third with nobody out. I'm not sure if Escobar got a piece of it.
Albert, anyway, very alert as he has a play in front of him. And with Braun going to his left, it's an awkward throw for a right-hand thrower, so no hesitation from Albert, and he gets over to third as the ball came back into second. Chris Fazio, the pitching coach, he replaced. Vargas is warming up as Vespazio out to talk to Coffee. Wonder if we'll see David Weathers versus Albert Pujols sometime again this weekend.
Vargas has been a guy that has worked out of their starting rotation. Been a relief.
He pitched very well against the Cardinals in relief in that series in Milwaukee. Now the big three have done it. They've had some fun here tonight. Albert has 3 hits. Holiday has 2 hits. Ludwig is 2 for 3. How about the run that Braun basically stole? That ball really didn't get away from Molina very far, but he raced home. He with a good secondary lead, anticipation, and slid with the go-ahead run. Got a play.
One and two.
Don't forget how productive Ludwig has been with his 22 home runs, 94 RBIs, and runners in scoring position, 327 average.
And Ludwig with a pair of RBIs tonight has shot up to 94. He can make it 97 with one swing and then really have a legitimate shot. Ooh, just missed it.
Keep on throwing that slider out there. Kendall set up away and almost too close to take, but he got away with it as the home plate umpire Bill Welke says it's a ball 2.
2-2. Full count now with Gloss on deck.
Didn't get the pitch away, didn't get the pitch in. Both of them down. They throw the 3-2 slider here.
Ludwig lines out to third. Hits
boy.
a bullet to third.
And Holiday scrambling back, but Prince Fielder, for whatever reason, had his hands up, like saying, don't throw. And see, Counsell was ready, but Fielder put his hands up saying, don't throw, and might have had a play. Couldn't have hit that one any harder, could he?
Not at all. So Gloss now, he was walked, he struck out and flied out. 0 for 2 tonight.
Take the fly out at the very least.
Stay out of that double play.
Well, deep enough for the sac fly.
It's a third at bat now that Gloss has been shaking his head about the call.
And if we see it, home plate umpire also sees it.
Gloss hits it to short, out there on to first. He got him. That's a double play. 6-4-3 on the double play, and here comes Tony La Russa. That saves the tying run from coming in, and it stays 7-6.
Did he pull his foot at first base?
top of the 8th. 7-8-0 and 6-12-0 for the St. Louis Cardinals. Let's go back to the play at first. The throw beats him here, but it's his foot off the bag.
Yeah, that's, I think, in an effort to try and cheat a little bit. It looked like his foot might have come off. It's hard to tell from that angle. And the umpire, he had the best angle on it. Tony went out and argued in between innings, but to no avail.
And reading Troy Gloss's lips, he said he's off the bag. So that's what his argument was. But to no avail, and it's 7-6 Milwaukee. Here comes a 1-0 pitch to Jody Garrett. One ball, one strike.
You know, Dan, very early in Tony La Russa's managerial career, and now he's managed the second most games in Major League history, third most wins. But he used to be really bad at going out and arguing with umpires. And when he came over to the National League, yeah, I noticed he was much more calm and really picked his arguments. And I said, Tony, you really calm down. He goes, I learned. You can't beat him.
2-1 pitch. A fly ball into deep right center field. Rasmus won't get it. Garrett to second base with a leadoff double.
Ball carried a long way. Kobe plays a relative shallow, so you see him go back on this ball. Reaches up and looked like it got behind him as he's going in towards that angle, and then look and see where it's sort of behind him. Watch here. Like,
so leadoff double for Garrett.
you would think he could have. Well, they get, you know, you don't want to make the first out of an inning at third base, but
Escobar is certainly in a sacrifice situation here. Give him some credit just to even make that play close at first, and then it turns into a double play.
Well, not only that, but Lopez, you know, he really had a difficult turn right there, and you know, you had Holiday bearing down on him. He tried to, you know, really disrupt the throw, but Lopez, you know, Felipe completed the throw, and they get him out at first base.
Are you surprised not to see Ken Maka bunting in this situation? On the road, up by 1, and with a young shortstop at the plate.
May tell you that the young shortstop doesn't know how to bunt. You may have seen that in limited play.
Here's the 0-2.
His numbers don't suggest that you know, he's that accomplished at driving the runner in. So yes. Now Gloss has moved back, but it's an 0-2 count.
One and 2 the count. A single, a ground out, and a fly out off the bat of Escobar. Puts it in play. Pujols charging. Thought about going to third. Leads not safe.
He thought about going there, but by the time he looked at third, and then he flips it to Mott going by, Escobar hustling down the line, beats it out. So instead of getting the out, watch, he takes his time, he looks there, but it would have been very difficult. But, you know, Mott actually was going to pass him up just because of where it was. It would have been very difficult either way. Even if he would have just turned, Mott still wouldn't have been at the bag, and Escobar can run.
That is one thing they said he can do exceptionally well, and he does a bunch, but they said this guy can fly. He showed off the wheels there. So now a chance for Kendall. 7-6 game. Runners at first and third, nobody out. He's 0 for 2, and he drew a walk in that 6-run 7th inning for Milwaukee, and that pitch at 97 from Mott.
What about Kendall? He usually puts the ball in play. Nobody out. You got the pitcher spot on deck. You're going to pinch hit. So, you know, he wouldn't think he would squeeze.
Grounder pulled foul, 0-2. Shoot the count on Kendall. And now time call. Crowd was into it. Looked like Wainwright was going to have his 20th win. It's a foul ball. Off the foot of Kendall. Things have certainly changed. And an 0-2 pitch. Trying to get him to chase. He doesn't.
Got his 2000th career hit against Pinheiro earlier this season. Very durable all these years as a catcher. Still runs fairly well. Used to be a leadoff man.
Kendall, a ground ball. Gloss backhands. Can't get it out of the glove. Run scores. It's 8-6.
Trying to position himself to throw home and bobbles the exchange, and they pick a run. E5. Tries to get here. Tries to get the position to throw and just didn't have the handle.
Tough night for Gloss, as he was shaking his head last 3 at bats, then hit into a double play, argued that, and commits the error, which leads to a run. It's now 8-6.
RBI 41st for Kendall, and he reaches on the air.
And this is Corey Patterson. E5 RBI on that play. Again, we'll have Blues hockey for you tomorrow at 1:30 with the pregame show. 2 o'clock, they'll drop the puck from Sweden. Blues winners today 4-3 over Detroit. So still nobody out. Patterson hitting .115 this year. That's to the backstop. Molina gets it, but nowhere to go. Runners at second and third, and things have gotten sloppy here in the last 20-25 minutes.
The guy sitting here right there and just a wild pitch all the way, but you really almost wonder how healthy he is. You know, removed from the game with that foul tip. Then he sat out a couple games. Then he came back and had the quadricep on the left side was bothering him. And not saying he's going to block that one, but
base hit could put Milwaukee ahead by 4 late in this game.
And, you know, there is some concern, you know, that these young right-handers are untested, you know, in postseason play or pressure baseball. They're not really selling themselves right now.
One and two, the count on Patterson, the former Cub. He's bounced around a little bit. And Dusty now has had him a couple of times. And he was with Cincinnati as well, and Chicago. 1-2 pitch. Patterson strikes out. Molina will look down to third. One out. Here's Felipe Lopez.
Reyes is going to leave Mott as he'll turn around and switch hitter.
About Denny's Reyes, who is into this ball game.
He leads the Cardinals in appearances, now 74, one off his career high of 75 last season. Left-handed batters are batting .202, but Lopez is switch hitter. You turn him around to the right side, where he's batting .323. It is his natural side, a little more power from that side. At about a third of the at-bats, as he's been a .300 hitter from both sides of the plate.
So runners at second and third, infield drawn in, and the first pitch is strike.
Talked about it earlier, but Felipe has been a pretty solid player the last couple of years, getting traded to playoff contending teams and coming through.
One ball, one strike.
Milwaukee's not going to reach the playoffs this year, but he's done his part as batting close to .330 as a Brewer. Ball almost got through Molina.
backhanded by Pujols. He can't come up with it. Schumacher retrieves it. Safe at first. Another run scores.
Now reliable defense is coming. Got a little weakness as Albert commits his 13th error. It's a play that he makes in his sleep. He doesn't come up with the backhand. Good recovery from Schumacher, who was playing in, and now it looks like he might have got it on the nail. As, boy, what else could go wrong right now? Been on his thumb. You know, he doesn't want to come out of this game, but
it's his index fingering out. So 9-6 Milwaukee. They had scored 9 after trailing 6-0 in this ball game. They picked up a run in the 6th and then 6 in the 7th and 2 more here in the 8th, and they're not slowing down. Here's Counsell. Counsell, a ground ball with the infield in. Schumacher won't get it. That's a base hit. It's now 10-6, and Counsell picks up the RBI, his 39th. So infield in again, and it costs the Cardinals.
Pulls this ball, but not only was it in, but look, he was so far up the middle and hits it so far to the right side. Valiant effort off the glove, but doubtful he was going to be able, even if he dove for that ball, scramble up and make a play. Yes, Kenny was warming up.
This will be a double switch.
So Boggs is going to be coming in.
Sports Midwest is brought to you by Bud Light. With just the right taste, it is not too heavy, not too light. The difference is drinkability. By Bank of America, Cardinals banking only at Bank of America, and by Ameristar, more casino, more fun.
10 unanswered runs after the Cardinals jumped out 6-0, and looked like Adam Wainwright was going to pick up his 20th win. He goes 6 strong innings, left a couple men on, and the bullpen has just blown a gasket. But with this inning, a couple errors to boot by the Cardinal fielders.
Fastball by Boggs, and that's a strike. Such a disappointing night as Boggs in relief now, and this will be his 15th appearance. 2-3 his record.
And what we've had since we turned over the bullpen, 6 hits and 2 errors. Helped blow this game open. But if you're Mitchell Boggs, it's an opportunity to show not only the Cardinals what you have, but there's a lot of scouts in the stands from contending teams scouting the Cardinals and seeing what how their team matches up against them, how to pitch to them.
Whoa, that's to the backstop.
They're sending the runner back to second base. So the run comes home on the wild pitch, and Molina's just, he is not 100%. You see with, because of his knee and quad, he can't make plays like that right now. He can't stretch out.
And why is he in there? You know, at this point.
At this point, you know, I think
I can understand with Wainwright going for his 20th, but once that was through.
Well, we think the Cardinal fans are knowledgeable enough to know that this is not because of wild pitches, it's because of the physical aspect. And we're telling that to fans here, but you know, Tony, how much he loves Yachty and appreciates how tough he is, but it's an issue that, you know, he's just not 100%.
So 2 outs and a runner at third, and it brings in Fielder. For 2 with a pair of walks and hitting .297. Grounded out twice to Schumacher, and the shift is on. A pitch taken low and away.
Right here, Mitchell Boggs can show Tony that he can get out Ryan Braun and get out Fielder. And you got to give him some credit in this situation.
1-0 pitch. 2-0. Cameron on deck.
You know, these Cardinal pitchers want to be very tough to Fielder and not allow him to get any more RBIs this weekend and let Albert have a chance to catch up and hopefully pass him.
And a walk to Fielder. His third walk tonight. Cardinals trailing by 5, and it's first and third with 2 outs. Mike Cameron will be the hitter. Cameron, 3 strikeouts tonight and a flyout. He's one of the guys that has not gotten in the action this evening for Milwaukee. First pitch, a strike, little off-speed pitch.
Cardinal has been throwing a lot of sliders out there to him.
Ooh, and he almost hit him that time.
Everyone backed up on him and just didn't have the break. Cameron 0 for 3 with a hat trick.
One and 2 the count.
Disappointing game for us, partner, but not a season.
Great year. We've had a lot of fun doing the clinching game on Saturday. Was certainly a highlight, no doubt. Even watching right there as Molina went down, it just, sure, he's just all that right.
Well, that's what I mean. You know, it's just never make excuses, and he would be the first one. But you know, when took that foul tip on his knee, missed a couple days, and then the first game back they had to remove him because of the strained quad, and this pitch hits Cameron.
Last time the Cardinals had 4 wild pitches in a game was back in 2000, and Cameron hit by the pitch.
Right on the elbow, or didn't look like he moved at all, did it?
Nope.
He's paying the price for not moving. Now the trainer out there, and Ken Mocker following. That hand is absolutely numb right now, getting hit on the elbow. See if he can even squeeze. Eventually he'll get a little feeling back in it, but trying to make a fist right now.
Win or lose, Cardinals score 6, Al, and you score 25-cent drinks at On the Run. Just wanted to let you know that.
Thanks, Dan.
I want to tell you too, over at the team store, they have beautiful ties. If you're ever looking for one,
You know, I frequently do, but didn't know that. Thank you for that info.
forgot my tie first time in 10 years. I forgot a tie. Just happened to come tonight, and well, what a beautiful STL red and navy official Cardinal tie.
Looks good on you. So that was our jinx tonight.
No jinx, Al. No jinx whatsoever. 2 balls and no strikes. That gets past Molina. To the backstop it goes. Another run will score to make it 12-6.
And there's another ball that he's just limited.
He's limping a little bit too.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You know, I mean, he just doesn't miss those pitches. As you know, if you really looked at it, probably should be scored a pass ball, but trying to reach when you have that quad problem, your body just doesn't go in that direction.
And a 3-0 pitch here. So that's 5 wild pitches by the staff tonight. And a walk.
Thompson is warming up, and I'm sure he's coming in. Wainwright looking for his 20th win. He pitched well, but the bullpen has really struggled. 32nd appearance for Thompson. He spent some time down on the farm. Made 3 starts for Memphis, 2-6 on the year. And he will face the young shortstop Escobar. There are 2 outs, bases loaded. Escobar is 2 for 4 in the night, adding .310, 1 home run, 11 RBIs, and he can fly. So hitting the ball on the ground just doesn't guarantee that you're going to get it out. Breaking ball inside. As you only have these type of games whenever Dan McLaughlin forgets to bring a tie. Reaches for this out to center field, and Kobe Rasmus puts it away, and the crowd is much to their pleasure.
The wheels came off as he got the curtain call, and since then nothing has gone right for the Cardinals. Here's a look at Tyler Green. And speaking of Adam Wainwright, let's give you our 5 and 55 recap. Pujols, big night, 3 hits, RBI. Prince Fielder 0 for 2 but 3 walks. Gloss, a tough night. Looper is off the hook. Wainwright, no decision. And the night where folks were anticipating win number 20, it looked like, Al, it was going to be that way.
Well, it sure did, and you never want to take anything for granted, but the bullpen has been so reliable. Adam goes 6+ innings, gave up a couple hits, and they brought in went to the bullpen, and Kyle McClellan had one of those rare outings, and whoever has followed has pretty much had the same fate.
And that's taken outside by Tyler Green. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Cleo Green is at the on-deck circle.
There's a few things you can look at in this game that have just not gone right for Tony La Russa. When you talk about Wainwright hitting for himself in the 6th and going back out there, at that point, you could say, well, go to your bullpen at that point. McClellan, obviously, that move didn't work out. Molina has not looked comfortable behind the plate, so a few things have not gone the Cardinals' way, and it's added up to a 12-6 lead for Milwaukee.
And again, when we say Molina not comfortable, it's from a physical standpoint, and the banged up left knee has really handcuffed his mobility. And so the wild pitches, pass balls, some of those runs that have scored, They would never do that if he was 100% healthy.
A 3-1 pitch. Green, a swing and a miss. 3-2.
Vargas is in this game, and he's very tough in his own right.
Three-two pitch. A 3-2 pitch to Green. Fought off. By the way, if you have an interest to get into directing sports on television, our director, as you saw in the pregame show, Tom Mee, has written a book, Cutting the Game.
And I'm sure that he would love to add a chapter or two on this game.
And you can go to his website and order that book. Very fascinating look at what happens behind the scenes. CuttingTheGame.com. You can order Tom's book.
Vargas hits the first man. He's not allowed to run in his last 11 appearances. He's 1-0 with an ERA of 2 and 26 appearances for the Brewer.
There's a chapter dedicated to the oddity of Al. Really a fascinating look at you, Al.
It's a long chapter, isn't it? With what all kinds of footnotes.
You should have seen the research he did asking me questions about Al Hrabosky.
Well, what about all the mental health people that he solicited?
Again, it's a fascinating look at you in that particular chapter.
Just remember, Dan, you've helped bring me to this mental state.
Oh, and I've worked at it long and hard. 1-0 pitch to Green. There's a fly ball. But we say cutting the game, and that's what right there. As he cuts to a shot, that's why you hear the name Cutting the Game. See, he just cut to Joe Thurston. Now he's going to cut somewhere else. Now he's on the pitcher. So that's why it's called Cutting the Game. There are probably viewers out there saying, wait a minute, that doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's what we call it.
There's a lot of things we say that don't make a lot of sense to our viewers. Okay, primarily me.
1 out and a runner at first. And Thurston fouls it back.
What's the score?
Now it's 12-6.
No.
And this is it for us. We say goodbye after tonight.
Such a glorious season. We hate to end on this note.
Here's a 1-1 pitch. Popped up and out of play.
You could really do a promo on Cutting.
One-two pitch to Thurston. Two-two. Hey, nice play made by a fan.
One because he used two hands.
Two and two the count with one out and a runner at first. On the outside corner. There's two outs.
Play it down low to Joe Thurston, but Milwaukee brings him up, and now Lugo pinch hit is Tony's going through his bench, and rightfully so.
We've had some ugly games this week, haven't we? Yesterday it was a lopsided win for the Cardinals, and tonight, after being up 6 runs, Milwaukee's come back with 12.
That was a beautiful game yesterday. Only because of the score and who won.
Here's a 1-0 pitch to Lugo. Nice play at third and a force at second, and that sends us to the ninth. Milwaukee 12, St. Louis 6. Game show on Fox Sports Midwest. Jason Kendall will lead it off for Milwaukee. Lots of changes here for Tony La Russa's club. It's 12-6 as the Brewers lead St. Louis. Julio Lugo is at second. David Freese at first. Tyler Green at short. Khalil over at third. Thurston in left, and Pagnazzi takes over behind the plate.
And we have more substitutions if we go into extra innings. Thompson got the final out last inning, and he'll try and close this one out.
2 balls and 1 strike. Cardinals will have Rasmus, Freese, and Pagnazzi coming up, so we may see Matt Pagnazzi get his first ever major league hit. Wouldn't that be nice? Grounded out yesterday.
Had a way to be positive, Dan.
2-2.
Hopefully we get to see his first RBI with that first hit.
Fly ball out to left. Thurston. 2 hands. Makes the catch, 1 away. Ryan Braun will be the hitter, and now they'll pinch hit for him. But this is our Hardy's prime cut of the game, and it's Braun going the other way. And that scored a couple. Big inning. 6 runs in the 7th, 5 in the 8th on top of the 1 run in the 6th. So here's J.J. Hardy. Been a real frustrating year for J.J. He was actually sent down to the minor leagues.
He had one of the best years by a shortstop for many years a year ago. Always liked him.
For good reason, too.
Yeah.
Good player. His numbers not indicative of the kind of player he's been over the years.
20+ home runs shortstop last season.
Just 11 this year to go along with his 47 ribbies, and he's hit at 228.
Last season he had second among shortstops, major league shortstops, with 24 home runs, third with 74 RBIs. He's only hit 220 in his 11 games since returning to the Brewers.
And the 1-2 pitch to Hardy. Driven into deep right center field. Rasmus on the move. He won't get it. Boy, he's been playing really shallow.
Yes, he has. He's gotten burned a couple times. But usually, you know, they are placing him defensively. Remember, Dave McKay always wanted Jim Edmonds to play deeper, where Edmonds preferred to play shallow.
I mean, he's even inside the arch.
That's right.
Which we haven't seen a lot of center fielders play that this year.
Most of them are playing on top of the arch. We're talking about the arch cut into the grass on the outfield. There you see it up there. Hard to tell because it's kind of lost its coloration out there at the top of the arch, but he's still playing about 10 feet in front of it. Did you see where, you know, Ricky Weeks is out for the year, but they asked him because of Felipe Lopez about playing the outfield, and he said no way. Many people projected that, you know, that's where he should play, you know, because he has improved as a second baseman, but he's out for the year with the wrist injury.
That was early too.
Yeah, but because of Felipe Lopez, and he continues to do the job, and I think Milwaukee, looking to the future, retaining Lopez, and wanted Ricky, who can be a very good offensive player, to play the outfield.
Here's a question for you. How about Prince Fielder? What would you do with him this offseason? What kind of package do you think you could get for Fielder? Because they don't know if they can retain him with the great numbers he's put up and the kind of money he could command here. And like we said, pitching is something that's really been a sore spot for the Brewers.
Speaking of the business side of it, I think you really do have to investigate that, because, you know, you just got to look at that young body, and at some point, you know, it's not 100% that it's going to break down, but at some point you have to be concerned, and especially if you can't lock him up long term, I would have to look and see what you get in return.
And I guess the first place you always go is either New York team or Boston. Now, you know, the Yankees wouldn't move to Scher, obviously. He's had a great year. But the Mets, Boston, you know, any of those big market teams, see what kind of package you could get. Nifty play here by Green, and they turn the double play. Tyler Green starts it. Lugo turns the double play.
pitch next year, and then he would be the first to have 600 saves. 36 saves out of 39 opportunities. He hasn't pitched since last Saturday. That's why he's in here. But that's the same scenario with Franklin. And, you know, keep on resting Franklin, that hopefully that doesn't affect things in the long run.
Updating things in the American League Central. Minnesota now just a game back of Detroit. How about that? Minnesota holds on. Remember, they were up 8-0.
It's 2-1. Rockies, it was 10-0. I believe they had over the Royals, so the Royals gave an effort on that. Rockies, see that 2-1. They lead over Los Angeles. They can close that gap to 1 with a victory tonight.
Colby, a high fly ball into center field. And again, this is our final telecast of the season on Fox Sports Midwest, and want to thank everybody involved with our telecast. Brad Straubinger and Max Linewan, our pregame show producers, Tim Trokey, and all of the folks behind the scenes at Fox Sports Midwest. Care so much about the Cardinals and trying to put out a good product.
We always have fun with the guys in the truck, but we have the greatest respect for them, and we think the crew we work with here in St. Louis is the best in baseball. And Dan, from a personal note, I think you and I have really grown a lot closer this year, and we've had a lot of fun together, and we might have to rest up a little bit before we can have more fun for next year.
There's some long nights, Al.
Well,
I thought having 4 kids in 3.5 years was tough, and then I went on the road with you.
Look at the.
I agree. Yeah, we've had a lot of fun.
The nurturing, and
it's been quite an experience.
The study together, with the media guide, and
we have had a lot of fun. What makes it better is when the team wins, and they have done a lot of winning this year.
Yeah, and it's in this game just kind of a bummer for closing out our season. But boy, we wish the Cardinals the best, and hope they have a long run in October.
Up the middle, and a base hit for David Freese. And don't forget, after the postseason ball games, tune in to Fox Sports Midwest for postseason coverage and postgame coverage that we'll have. Of course, we've got Blues hockey, more games than ever, 74, with a good majority of those in high definition.
And here's that first major league hit for Matt Pagnazzi, nephew of Tom.
We should remind folks that the Blues will be on Fox Sports Midwest tomorrow afternoon, beginning at 1:30. Pagnazzi pops it up. Fielder there makes the catch, and there's 2 outs. Well, if you're Milwaukee, Al, you got to think about bringing back Trevor Hoffman, no doubt.
Oh, no doubt about it. I mean, it was a sign that people kind of wondered. It was about $5 million, the all-time saves leader, but started the season on the disabled list. But not only what he has done, being an all-star again this year, 36 saves for them in 39 opportunities, but what a mentor he is for these young players, and his work ethic is incredible. So 590 career saves. He wants to get to 600.
Well, that's amazing, isn't it?
Sure. Originally signed as a shortstop.
1-0 pitch to Ludwig, and that's a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. That pitch, by the way, 84 miles an hour.
That's his fastball.
That's right.
But he went from being 4 exceptional pitches to now having one of the best changeups, and he changes speeds off the changeup.
And this should do it. Ludwig pops it up a mile high. Fielder wants it. He's got it. And the Cardinals lose a tough one tonight, 12-6 to the Milwaukee Brewers. Fielder untucks, and that means Milwaukee has won 12-6. And we've got the postgame show coming up. Stay with us here on Fox Sports Midwest.